Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Munioluwa Ogunleye. In today's video, I'm going to be answering some possible F1 visa interview question for those that are preparing for F1 US visa interview because I've gotten so many questions regarding possible questions and how to answer it. And one of the other unique thing I'm going to do in this video is to try to explain those questions to you. I do not subscribe to cramming or memorizing answers to interview questions. It is better and more useful for you if you understand what the visa interviewer wants to know about your application, and this will determine whether he or she is going to approve your visa application or not. So please subscribe, like, and turn your notification bell so that when new videos come on this channel, you'll be notified accordingly. There are three main factors that form the premise of all the questions that are going to be asked during your F1 visa interview. And this factor is number one, the legitimacy of your intention. Are you actually going to the United States for educational purpose, or it is just a route that you want to adopt to relocate? And that is what F1 US visa is described as, a non-immigrant visa. The intention is not for you to relocate with it. It is just for educational purposes. That is why you will hear them ask questions like, why are you going to the United States? Why this particular course, why this particular university. The second factor that you need to prove, which will determine whether your visa application will be approved or not, is your tie to your home country. As you need to show and prove to the visa officer that you have a form of tie to your home country, and because of this, that you intend to come back to your home country after your education in the United States. And that's why you hear them ask questions like, if you get a job in the United States, will you take it? Or questions like, what are your long-term goal after the completion of your studies? These are questions that visa officer will ask you to, for them to be able to decipher whether you intend to come back to your home country. The third thing that you need to prove as an applicant for an F1 US visa is your financial capability. They want to be sure that you are capable of paying your tuition and every other living expense. And that's when you will hear this visa officer ask questions like, who is sponsoring your education? Who is paying your tuition? Do you have scholarship or any form of funding? So this is just for them to get to know that you have the financial capacity to take care of yourself. If another reason for this is that, so that when you move to the United States for your education, you don't become a liability either to people around you or to the United States government. So that is why. So these are the three things that you need to establish, which will determine whether your visa will be approved or not. Number one, you have the financial capacity to take care of yourself. Number two, you intend to go to United States for educational purpose. And number three, you have a very strong tie, which will propel you to come back to your home country after the completion of your education. So let's go to the questions. I have them typed out so that I will not forget any question. Before I go into the questions, I just want to drop one or two tips that came to my mind while preparing for this video recording. Is that, I know this is a disclaimer. I'm not a travel consultant, but these response I'm going to give and this explanation I'm going to give are based on my experience and several people, more than 25 people that I've had to talk to about their visa experience, and I saw the similarity. So this, upon this premise, I'm giving this response and explanation. So the first tip I would like to give while preparing for your visa interview is that, please understand, make sure you read your personal statement because they're going to form the basis of some of the answers. And number two, be familiar with the information on your DS-160. Make sure that the information on your DS-160 does not contradict the answer you're going to give during your interview. And it's important for you to know that time for your interview is very short. The maximum time a VO we spend with an applicant is 3 to 5 minutes. And so you need to make sure that the answer you are giving is right on track, and because there may not be opportunity for you to start explaining your answer. So you need to make, that's why it's important for you to practice and rehearse even before your visa interview. So these are some of the tips I like to give. So why are you traveling to the United States? That's the first question I was asked. And what you need to say is that I'm going to the United States for either my master's or my bachelor's degree or my PhD program. Mention the program you're going for, the university that you're going for. So that's basically what they just want to be like an introduction for you. So what I said was I'm going to the United States for my master's program in women and gender studies with a concentration on justice system and policy making, and I'll be attending Eastern Michigan University in Michigan State. That's what I said. That they just want you to introduce yourself and why you're going to the United States. So the second question is that why this particular university and college? Earlier, I mentioned that one of the things that you should do while preparing for your F1 visa interview is to be familiar with the information on your personal statement. One of the things that you discussed in your personal statement was why you chose this particular university and this particular program. So when they ask you that, why did you choose this particular program or this particular university, I would recommend that you tell them why you this particular university, what stood out for you about the university. Is it that they are funding opportunity? You can also funding can be a reason why you choose a school. For example, if you apply to like four schools and only one school gave you funding, that would be a good reason for you to choose that school. But that should not be the only reason why you chose the school. You should mention like three reasons. It can be like the funding, it can be like they have a very good curriculum that will support your long-term goal, as your long-term professional goal. And also it can be like they have a very viable and active international students community. You can also mention that they have a very good faculty members that have reputation in this area of research interest that you have. So that's like a possible answer. The second question, number three on this list, is how do you plan to finance your education and living expenses while studying in the United States? So if you have a funding or scholarship, you can mention that you have funding, you have scholarship. Now, if you do not have funding or scholarship, the way to answer this question is, if, for instance, your parents are sponsoring you, you can mention that your parents are sponsoring, your father is going to be sponsoring you, and the father works in this place. If he has a company or you have a business, you can mention the business. If he has a landed property, you can mention landed property. You just need to give an answer that shows that your parents are capable of sponsoring you. Now, if you're not being sponsored by your biological parents, but you're being sponsored either by your uncle or an auntie, or let's say an adopted parent, you can explain to them that your uncle or your auntie is going to be financing your education in the United States, because maybe your parents before they died were the ones sponsoring your uncle, and as a way of expressing his gratitude that we're responsible for your education since your parent died, or that your uncle has always been interested in you particularly because of your award on how you did very excellently well in school and things like that. So what I'm trying to say is that apart from your parents, your biological parents, other people that can stand that can sponsor you can also be your uncle or your auntie, but you just need to show the connection, the reason why your uncle want to sponsor you, considering how expensive United States education can be. And at this time, if you have their bank statement, which I will encourage that you have, if you need to have your sponsor's bank statement to show that they have the money in their account. So when I answered my question, I put forward the bank statement, that this is their bank statement to show that they have the financial capacity to pay for my tuition. The next question is, do you have any relative or friends? Do you have any relative currently residing in the United States? You need to be truthful in your visa, in your interview, because your answer is being recorded, and you won't want to have a situation whereby in the future people make reference to the answer you gave during your interview and they discover that it was a lie. So if you have a family member in the United States, you can mention that you have a family member in the United States. I have friends that have family members schooling here in the United States when they were also coming to the United States. So I don't think it is a one size fits all that because you have a family member in the United States, you can't apply to come to the United States for educational purposes. For this question, how do you intend to return to your home country after completing your studying? Is that he said, yes, I intend to return back to my home country after completing my studies because I would like to start an organization or start a company or a business or a consultant, because to show that you're coming back home. And also you can mention that you have like an elderly parent if you do, that are right home and you don't want to stay far away from them too much, or if you have like a spouse, husband and wife, you can mention that my wife is and my children are still in Nigeria, so I intend to come back after my program to apply all that I've learned, all the experiences I've gathered in my home country. So the next question is that have you ever been in the United States before? I believe that the reason for this question is to show that you have a track record of complying with the requirement of your visa. For instance, if you have been to the United States before on the basis of visiting visa and you came back to the country as at when you're supposed to come back, you have a high chance of getting your F1 visa because it shows that you have a reputation of sticking to your visa requirements. So the next question is that have you had any arrangement for have you had any arrangement for housing or accommodation in the United States? It is believed that you're supposed to start planning to get an accommodation in the United States. You can say that, yes, I already have that in motion. I intend to stay at the student apartment close to the cable distance to the university I'll be attending, or I'm going to be staying on campus with some of the dormitory available for students within the university premises and things like that. So the next question is, after the completion of your program, do you intend to stay? So because question is also important because they want you to show and prove through your answer that you're not relocating finally. You're not escaping from your home country, if I'm to use that word, and or that you intend to come back home after the completion of your program. So that's why this kind of question is being asked. So the next question is, I have lots of them, is is that how do you first learn about the university or college you plan to attend? So one of these are ways that you can explain that. You can say some of your friends that attend that university um, recommended that university because of their research policy, because of the opportunity available to students to attend conferences and seminar, opportunity for them to work with first class faculty members. You can also say that you found the school through your Google search. I mean, you can say that you search top 10 business school in the United States or top 10 business school in New York, and you found the school through Google search. And also you can say you found this school through their social media platform. Also, you can mention that you attended a conference where a speaker you were amazed by a particular speaker's presentation, and you learned that this speaker is teaching in a particular university, and because of that you intend to apply to that university. And so there can be different ways that you came across this university, and you're going to just try and explain to the visa officer. So the next question is that what are your long-term career goals and how will studying in the United States help you achieve them? This is another reason why you need to be familiar with the content of your statement of purpose, because in your statement of purpose, one of the things as you discussed was your long-term goal. So you can say that the reason why I'm going to the United States is for a master's in technology law, and this is very important to me because technology law is an evolving area of law in Nigeria, and we have very few legislation. So I want to go to the United States, learn about technology law, and with the increase of content creation in Nigeria, a knowledge of um technology law will be very useful to me. And I also intend to start up a legal consulting firm where I will advise people on their intellectual property rights, their copyright property rights, and things like that. So, times they may ask you if you've written any standardized tests like TOEFL and JRE. If you have, you can say yeah, yes, and you can like try to give them the result of your TOEFL or GRE. And if you do not, you can say that the university that you are going to do not require you to write TOEFL, that the TOEFL requirement was waived by your university because the language of instruction in your home country was English. And so what do you know about the city or town where your university is located? And that is why you need to really do a proper research, because these are questions that non typically come out, but you have to prepare for everything. When I got my admission, as I studying about Michigan, I tried checking places in Michigan, like fun place to attend in Michigan. So you can say that one of the beautiful things about Michigan that I like is peacefulness, or mention some of the interesting place to visit in Michigan or wherever you are going to. The last question I have here is can you explain any discrepancy or changes in your educational plan or goal? This is very important for those that are doing like a career change. If, for example, you studied a particular course and now you're going for a master's in another particular program, you need to explain the reason for that switch or that change. And as I said, this is just to confirm the legitimacy of your claim that you're going to United States for educational purpose. So for let's assume that you did your undergrad in a particular field and go for your master's in another field. You can explain that over the years you have gained working experience or professional experience in this new field that you're going for your master's in, and you believe that this is the area that this is the reason for your career change, and that is why you're pursuing the master's in this area rather than what you did for your undergrad. I hope you find this information and explanation very helpful, even as you prepare for your F1 interview. I want you to know that I'm vouching for you and I know that you're going to do excellently well. So till we meet again in our next video, remember in 2024, take those baby steps because greatness, great wealth, and great establishment rest on the premise of small baby step. Thank you so much and bye bye.